All right, guys, welcome to the Buff Show. We are here today. My name's Austin.
I'm Parker. I've been on here a couple times. You guys know me by now.
You guys know us. You know us. Today, we're going to be covering what can a buyer, a future buyer that's about 6 to 18 months out do starting today.
Yep.
So we'll get into that. And I guess I should backtrack. The reason why we want to speak on this is because I personally fall within that window. We're probably about 18 months from seriously starting to look for a house. So
yeah,
some of the points we're going to go through are from my personal experience just this week, and some of the things I've been thinking through and learning about for my own self. So
perfect. Yeah, and I'd rope myself into that same one.
Cool. Okay.
So,
That's
and like
your goal.
we've done a lot of these same things, me and my wife. We've gone through kind of down like a checklist and just have started working on everything. And
okay. So
yeah,
what?
It's an exciting process.
Yes. What time period are you looking at? Like a year out?
We're hoping, within like a year.
Okay, cool. So first and foremost, we're broken this down to 3 different parts. And the first part is financial preparation. And so that first segment of financial preparation is building a strong credit score.
Yeah. Everybody has credit.
They do.
Well, not everybody.
They don't.
Not everybody. And that's what's crazy to me. But I mean, like I always just started like right as I graduated high school, like I started working on my credit. It was just like buying a car, getting a credit card, and just like making my monthly payments on it just to start building it.
Right.
Like I've had friends that like just up until like the last year, like I'm 26 years old and they're like, oh, yeah, maybe. Like I had an old roommate and he's like, yeah, I'm like 30 something, don't have a credit score. Never had a credit card. I'm like, wow, that's wild. So
that's how it happens. For those of you that just can't fathom that, is my wife was in the same boat until a couple of years into marriage. She's like, maybe I should start building some. Like, yeah. So she was raised in a house where they did not, learn about credit cards or obviously get a credit card. Versus my mom, I think when I was 14 or 16, she took me to the bank and she opened up a credit card that she then took back, and I never used it, just kept it open.
Yeah.
And so if you never get a credit card, you never buy a car on a loan, you will not have a credit score. Like you'll just be at 0.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but
kind of crazy. And it's people go through life without using one, but like they're also not financing anything. They're not buying a home. They're not buying cars. Like they're living a very like minimalistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So I actually have a story that happened this week about a credit score. So I have a friend and they've had perfect credit score their whole life. They never missed a payment, perfect credit score. Well, they opened up a new mortgage and the lender that they went through didn't have an easy process to set up auto pay. So the first, half a year, every month they would manually go in, they would pay their mortgage, and they got to a point where they were just like, this is dumb. I'm wasting time every month. I have to remember to do it. Like everyone puts their stuff on auto pay, right?
Right.
So they go through the step. They have to go to the bank, get a physical check. It was kind of this archaic system to do it. It kind of surprised me. I don't know if there was a better way than what they said there was. But anyway, long story short, they finally get it all set up. They get a confirmation email, says it's set up, but they didn't read some fine print that said this auto pay will go into effect in 30 days.
Oh, shoot.
Well, there is a payment due before those 30 days.
Oh my gosh.
So their first mortgage payment after setting up auto pay was late. And they didn't catch it until it was too late and actually did hit their credit score. So this perfect credit person, I think they got I don't know if they're 820 or 8 or 790, but just imagine something really high.
Yeah.
And that one missed late payment dropped them down to 690 immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Which 690 is still not horrible.
Right, that's still pretty good.
But it is enough to, going back to why we're talking about this, that is enough to give you a far worse credit score on some loan products, some mortgage products.
Yeah.
Especially in the investment world, which they're using, and it's hurting them. It's hurting. So
yeah. And did you mean to say credit score, like interest rate?
Sorry, interest rate. Okay. Yep. Interest rate. Yeah. So I don't think it hurts them as bad if this was for a personal home. I bet it still would give them a slightly worse interest rate.
I see.
But in the investment world, banks want to see a really, clean credit score,
right,
to lend on a business or on a investment property. And so, I don't know what it would be. We could ask a lender, but I'd imagine their interest rates, I'm guessing about 0.5 point to 3/4 of a point worse than what it would have been.
Yeah.
So instead of 7.5, you're looking at 8.25.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's crazy. It's a big factor that you don't think about.
It is.
Because you could be making all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're making all the money in the world, you just buy it cash.
Yeah.
But if you're making good money,
and
you go to get something, it's like,
right.
Your credit's not good. Like we're not gonna,
lend to you.
And
the thing about this one, why it's in what we're talking about today, is because it can take some time to rebuild.
Right.
So they're gonna have that on there, assuming that this institution doesn't right their wrong or have any grace at all for them. Assuming that they don't do anything, it's going to be on their credit score for a while until they can work back up and prove that they are responsible.
Right.
So start now. In most of these, we're going to be saying get with a lender today.
Right.
For this,
just the way to do it.
Just the way to do it. And we'll get into that. But get with a lender today. They'll help check your credit score if you don't know how. But most banking apps have now a free credit score check, like a FICO,
right? Like your free FICO. Yeah, because I'll go look at mine, just because I'm with America First. That's as much information as I'm going to share on here. But it'll just give me a free FICO score, and it's, I don't think it's 100% accurate, but I think it gives me a good idea.
Yep.
Where
Same
I'm
with Wells Fargo. It's instantaneous. It might be off 10 points, but you'll know if you have something to work on or not.
Right. Yeah. It's going to show you if you're down in the 560s, you're going to know that you're just in a bad position there for that, and you could be better.
And if that's the case, you're going to need every month of these 18 months that we're talking about today to get that fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, saving for a down payment.
Yes. And this one I think is interesting because right now I've even seen it a ton. There's so many programs out there to where there's down payment assistance programs, especially here in Ogden, Weaver County. So it's you technically don't need one.
It's true.
But I think it's smart to have one.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Take some off.
Yeah. There's a lot of grants. The Ogden one's is it literally called Live in Ogden?
I think it's Live or Own in
Ogden. Yeah. So I have an out-of-state client that she's I must be in Ogden, the city. Because I was well, Ogden surrounding area. And she's no, Ogden, city. And it was because of this exact same thing.
Yeah.
But a down payment. I mean, traditionally, you need one. Now, we should make sure we mention, which by now I think most people know this, but most of us were raised thinking that you have to have a 20% down payment.
Right. That's what I always thought growing up.
Yes.
Was 20%.
Same. But you do not. You'll be in a better place if you do, obviously. It could be a better rate than you'd get. If not, you won't have PMI, which is private mortgage insurance.
Right.
For sure. So if you can, great. But in today's pricing, it's pretty tough.
It's a little bit harder. And that's tough. Even still, even on a conventional now, you can only do, is it 3% down with a conventional?
Yeah, 3.5, I think, for,
Because I know there's 3.5 for FHA, or maybe it's 5%. I think it's me.
5 for,
Don't ask us. We're not lenders. We don't
Get with your lender early. Early.
Or get with us. We'll get you in touch with a lender.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. We've got some really good lenders we can hook you up with if you don't know any. Okay. Understanding your budget. So this one we talked about earlier, it'd be a great idea to get with that lender, figure out what you could qualify for as far as a purchase. Use today's rates because that's probably pretty conservative to where rates will be headed. We're hoping they're going to drop.
Right.
But use today's rates just in case and figure out what your monthly payment is going to look like on that house.
Yeah.
from there, start living like it. Start living like you have to pay that today. And so we were thinking that it'd be a great idea. Let's say your rent's $1,500, but you are planning a house purchase in 18 months, 1 year, whatever it is, and your mortgage is going to be $3,000. The lender already said you could qualify for that. They said you should be fine. Well, start living like you have to owe someone $3,000 and pocket or tuck away, save the additional $1,500 and put that into your down payment fund.
Right.
So it's like twofold. It's accomplishing two purposes at once.
Yeah.
You're learning to live off of that new payment, but you're actually saving up at the same time.
Right. And I think, and it's almost like a good trial period. Cause like, let's say, the lender I'm working with, they're like, yeah, you could afford $3,000 a month, but it's like, do I really want to spend? I have other like lifestyle stuff, that like gets in there. Like, could I do it? But would it be tight?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I don't want to spend that much. Like I'd rather spend $2,600, $400 less or, something like that. So it's almost like a good trial period just to see like what it's like. Cause I mean, you could definitely, it's exciting. Like when you're in there talking with the lender, they're like, yeah, you can afford this much. It's like, okay, perfect. Like I'm going to go find that price of a house. We're going to, we can afford that. But then you get in there and you're like, oh wait, I can afford this, but do I want to afford this?
Are we going to be able to sleep well at night with this over our heads? And the thing about what a lender can qualify for and your actual monthly expenses is different, right? Because they're going to be looking at your true debts on paper.
Yeah.
They're not going to be looking at your habits necessarily. Like, what if you guys love going to get massages every single week? Well, you're $1,000 a month in massages.
Right.
And the lender didn't consider that. Like, so anyway.
Yeah. So just a couple things. Like, I think just sit down, create like a pretty strict budget, like map out everything, look at, 2 months or 1 month of like all of your expenses, whether that's, with your debts and then even just like your groceries, food, gas, like everything like that. And just get it all down, get it on paper and just give yourself something to work for.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. Number 2, research and education.
Yes.
So market research.
Market research. Did you want to read this quote that's in there?
Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to real estate. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be. Knowledge is power.
It really is. It really is. Because I mean, like where we want to live, we're living out in Clinton right now.
Okay.
And it's like, I know that market pretty well. And so I think that's probably where we'll end up, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's like, if things change, then it's like, oh, I got to go figure out what's going on elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we're similar. We've been looking around South Weber area.
Yeah.
We're just like, can we deal with all the wind?
Yeah.
Depending on where you're positioned in those neighborhoods, you could be blasted every day, trees growing sideways, new roofing projects every other year, or you could be totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, market research. Like start to spend time in the same neighborhoods that you think that you're going to want to go to.
Yeah.
We did another podcast on this, but spend time at different times of the day in those neighborhoods too.
Yep.
Why do we want to do that?
Well, I mean, like you were saying, like South Weber in the mornings, because we lived in South Weber for a minute.
Yep.
And yeah, in the mornings, that wind gets whipping down there and it's like, whoa, but then by 10, 11 o'clock, it's like, oh, this is fine. Wind's gone. Like, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you want to
do. Noise levels too.
Yeah. Yep.
If there's a school nearby, that means lots of buses and stuff in the morning at 3 p.m. or whatever it is. Just different traffic patterns.
Yeah.
Like start to learn the neighborhood, so you don't regret, purchasing after you move in and you spent, 48 consecutive hours there.
Right.
So
well, and it's even still like one thing is even just go like knock on the neighbor's doors. Like you're thinking like in a specific street even or like a specific neighborhood, just go knock a couple doors, say, how many guys lived here? You guys like it here? Like
what's
we're thinking
like?
Of buying in this area. Like what's it like?
People would be more than happy to answer those questions for you.
They're probably gonna be pretty honest.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep. That's a good point. Cool. Okay. So along with research and education, learn the buying process. This one, I believe if you have a good agent on your team, you don't need to be too proactive in learning this by yourself, because your agent should be filling you in, teaching, educating you along the way. And if you're with an agent here at Mountain Buff, we have every YouTube video link under the sun that has to do with the process.
Yeah.
I think we have, 1 to 2 minute segments that goes from like day one to after closing on what you can expect.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think it's still a good idea, even just to get educated yourself, just so that way you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't just go buy a house and be like, what in the crap is going on right now?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, find a good agent that's going to just be like, oh yeah, we have this coming up, we have this taken care of, what are your thoughts on this, this, and this?
Yep.
Versus like, oh, hey, so-and-so agent, like, shouldn't we be doing this right now? Shouldn't we be doing this? Like,
right.
Yeah, get yourself educated, but also find a good one that's not going to like just let you do the work.
Yep. So a good agent will provide you with the means to be able to study on the process. Okay, number 3, lifestyle considerations.
Yeah, and we kind of covered this a little bit, just like when, planning your budget.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe if you're getting into a house, like, there might need to be some lifestyle cuts. Like maybe getting a massage every week, might not be a thing anymore. Maybe it's once a month, once every 2 months.
Yeah.
But like, you're just gonna have to get a little bit more scrappy, cut out the things that you might love just to be able to get where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it's worth it.
Yeah. Thing along with this is like your future plans. So, maybe you have a goal of taking a pretty decent vacation once a year. So there's, another $10,000 that today you don't have to consider, but in the future, ideally you'd be doing. Or you don't have kids now, but this next house you buy, you're going to be raising, a couple of kids in there. Well, there's the actual birth, there's eventually travel sports and whatever you want your kids involved with. Like, kids are expensive.
Oh yeah.
So just laying out like what you can't plan for everything, no. But generally life does get more expensive.
Right.
As you go. So, and then along with that, not just the finances portion of an expanding or growing family, but just the logistics of housing a family. So one of the things that a lot of times we see is our clients want to buy for their needs today. Like, well, we have 2 kids. Okay, so they only need 3 bedrooms.
Right.
A bedroom for each kid and then them and their spouse. Well, they're not done having kids though.
Yeah.
So then in 2 years, they're already outgrowing their house that they just bought. Depending on what the market did, they may or may not have equity in there and may or may not be able to sell for a profit.
Right.
So we would just ask that, the best you can, try to figure out, how long do you need this house for and what life changes are going to happen during that time.
Yeah. I think just be smart.
Yeah.
Like don't just rush into it just to get into something, but like think about like the future and like what's going on right now and just plan.
Yep.
Doesn't hurt to over plan.
No. Now, in that same vein, sometimes we get some clients that definitely do over plan. I wouldn't say over plan. It's hard to over plan in this huge decision, but they sit on their decision maybe longer than is best for them.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So first off, I want to talk about why do people sit on the fence for so long when they appear to be completely ready to make the jump?
Right. Yeah, like they've gone through like everything we've talked through here. Like they're ready, but they're still just like, yeah, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, why not? Like,
yeah,
you have like the budget in place. You have like, you could clearly do this and still be saving some. Like, what are you doing? I think one thing that I could see just in my brain is like, it's a really big commitment. You know, it's like I buy this house. Like if I ever want to move, like I have to sell it. I can't just get out of my lease or like wait another 3 months till my lease is up and get out of here. You know, like
people hate commitment.
People hate commitment,
especially I think like our age more so.
Oh yeah. Just ask my wife. Just
yeah, I think you're totally right. We live in the era of like instant gratification and having a lot of options, right? Like we can subscribe to Netflix this month, but be done with it the following month.
Right.
But this is like, well, no, you're married to the house for a while until you at least can cover your closing costs and your, selling costs on the other end. And like you need to grow some equity in this thing before you can change your mind and move on to the next thing.
Right.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like a millennial Gen X thing.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. It very well could be. But at the same time, like and I think it is just crazy. I think it is just like a generational thing. Like even I'm not like a financial advisor. I don't know all the numbers, but I even but think that like a lot of like millennials or Gen X or Gen Z or whatever the letter is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
Gen X was right.
A lot of them don't really have like retirement accounts set up or like they're just like, yeah, we're making money. Like we're just living for now. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, what happens when you're 65 though? And like,
and Social Security has ran out.
Social Security is not even a thing anymore. It's just funny. So I guess like with this, like buying a house is such a huge asset that can like, that's like what a lot of people they're buying too. And then like once they sell it and downsize, like once they're retired, like that's their retirement.
Yeah.
They'll make, their 200 or 300 grand. They'll use that for their retirement to go travel and enjoy life. But when you're renting for that long, it's just like, okay, I'm shelling out $1,500. That's just,
it's gone out the door. It's never coming back.
Yeah. Never coming back.
I think right now it's probably a big reason why we see these fence sitters is because they compare the cost of their rent to what their mortgage is going to be for a similar type of living condition.
Right.
And it's like, wait, I have to pay double a month now for the same living condition. But what they're not considering is their current rent is not adding up or going towards anything. Like it's just done and gone. They'll never see it again. Whereas on the flip side, you can own what you live in. You can make your decisions, have all those perks and upsides of owning it, and probably net zero per month because half of it's going to go to interest, which is about the same as what they're spending on rent.
Right.
And then the other half is going to build equity, and they will see that back eventually.
Yeah.
And they get to ride appreciation in the meantime that they're living in it.
Oh yeah. No, there's tons of benefits for it. And I think the thing too that like not a lot of people understand, like going back to what you're saying is like the rent is cheaper than buying a house right now. But at the same time, like that rent's going to catch up.
Yeah.
With what current mortgages are. You know, like we've already seen in the last couple of years, like rents have gone up just because like mortgages have gone up. So like it's just going to keep going up. So in my opinion, like, get into a house and pay it for something that you own and put it towards, your asset.
Yep.
Your life versus and we also preach investments.
Yes.
Too,
yeah. We're big on that here at Mountain
So
Buff,
it's like, like if you could get a renter in there that's going to pay it for you, then all the better. But like, do you want to pay for Austin's retirement?
Right.
Yes. The answer is
please. Yes, please.
Rent from Austin. But I hope you guys get what I'm trying to put out there is like, do it for yourself.
Right.
It may suck, but just bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet. Okay. Any other main reasons we see why people stay sitting on the fence?
Recently just interest rates.
Yeah.
That's been like the main topic for everybody, but I think
they're trying to time a good interest rate, but economics would say rates come down, prices are going to go up. It's going to be a teeter-totter.
Right.
So pick your poison, but I rather pick the poison that I know is going to remain constant. So I want to buy cheap, right? It's not cheap, but cheaper. And then I can play with this rate throughout my ownership. Like I can refinance if rates come down. We just want to make sure, you can afford it at the current rate. That's the big thing. And then from there, you have the option, if it's advantageous to you, to refinance.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that all day long. Whether people are going to, agree or not is another story.
Yep.
But I am going to die on this hill that Utah values are going to go up even more than they have been when rates start to drop. And they have started to drop. So it'll be interesting to see like this next quarter if we can show you guys that data, that it correlates. I don't know if it'll be like that immediate, but like come next summer,
I think we'll see a jump.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you can complain about unaffordability now. I'm complaining about it, but it's not going to change the fact.
Yeah.
It's just a tough situation, but either get in front of the ball or behind the ball.
Right.
You choose.
100%. Well, I think that was all that I had.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks guys for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll see you later.